This week, we dive deep into the friend zone. Should you become friends before you date? Should you even date a friend? If you're already in the friend zone, how long should it last and how do you get out? This episode is personal. Welcome to the talking phase. Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Talking Phase podcast. My name is Tom. I am so excited. We're smack in the middle. By the time this drops, we're smack in the middle of the holiday season. And as always, I am joined by and pleased to be with my co-host, Pam, who is amazing. Pam, what is going on with you?
Oh, gosh. Well, we finally got through Thanksgiving, had a huge spread, lots of people. Sorry about that. And I pulled it off. My mom would be very proud of me. At least I hope she would be very proud of me.
Of course she would.
I love having a full house more than anything. And we had extras this year. For me, it's just always nice when Zach comes home from college. Nikki still lives here for the moment. It's actually the last time that both of my kids will live under the same roof. By the time Zach moves home after he graduates in May, Nikki will have moved out. And so this is kind of a bittersweet time. He'll be home for Christmas in the next few days, and then he'll be here through Christmas. So that's very exciting. Also, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but for anybody who's following me in the Fab Over 40 contest, I moved to the quarterfinals.
Woohoo!
Which means that my friends and family can get badgered about voting for another 2 to 3 weeks, because this is literally the contest that never ends. So if you're on our Instagram, sometimes I post a link up there so you guys can vote. All of the people that were number one in a group, we didn't know how many people were in the group, and we don't know how many groups there were, but I did manage to stay in first place in my group, which was probably just me for all I know. And so they shut it down for the weekend because they said we needed time to rest before the big push. So I'm taking a break from dating apps. I'm hanging out with friends and family, and just all I'm going to do is talk about Fab Over 40 from now on till I win.
Okay.
I'm
Well, and you know
kidding.
what? If you win the Fab Over 40 thing, I mean, the guys should be coming out of the woodwork for you, right?
Oh, that's never the problem, son. You know that's not the problem. It's not guys coming out of the woodwork. It's guys that you want to come out of the woodwork. And so no, I don't find that they come out of the woodwork all that often. But it's the holidays. I feel like November, December, at this point I've had a few bad dates. I am really okay just focusing on friends, family, holidays. We'll think about it again in the new year, which is kind of how I cycle through these things, in,
Yep.
out, in, out. Wow, that's what she
Wow.
said.
I was just going to say, well played, Pam.
Anyway, so yeah, good times over here. And how is Utah treating you?
Oh, I hate to admit that I'm actually really enjoying it. It's cold. It's snowy. I mean, it's not snowy right now, but it snowed a couple of times since I've been here. It stuck for a day or so and then it melted. And that's usually how it works. It takes a little while for the ground to get cold enough for it to stick. But, um, I assume in the next week or so, we will have, a few inches on the ground and it'll stay on the ground until January or so. And so here we are. But I have been having so much fun. I mean, again, I hate to admit it because I wasn't looking forward to moving back here, but I've gone to several concerts, gone out to dinner, been to see a few movies, and all of it is with my friend who we talked about. I think it was just last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Laura, that's her fake name, and I think it's funny. By the way, I told her that I gave her a fake name, and she said, "Laura, that's the best you could come up with."
She said, "You're such a boomer, Tom."
Well, I didn't think about it beforehand. It's not like I planned it, so we could change it. She actually suggested, I can't remember. I think it was, I think she said Star or something like
I
that.
think we're going to call her Laura. I think that in my mind, she's Laura now. And, for all
That's
that for all that we talk about our personal lives, I think that she will come to feel a little bit like Laura.
okay. Yes. Well,
Or not.
we're gonna stick with Laura then. And anyway, but so I want to talk a little bit about Laura today because Laura, she has been a very, very good friend of mine for a really long time. And since I came back to Utah, and those who have listened will remember, and I made a couple of TikToks about this, that we went out, um, like literally the day after I moved here. We went to the Queensryche concert, had a great time, and there was nothing. It was just, hey, we're friends. We'd been out to several things in years gone by, but there was something different. And we've been out and hung out many, many times. And I don't mean hung out like, like the kids do nowadays. I mean, we've been together. We've hung, I don't even know if I'm going to call him a date yet. That's the reason I'm saying I don't even know what to call him. But the fact of the matter is, I want it to be more. And I want to talk to you,
Mm,
Pam, my friend
yeah,
Pam, who is a woman, by the way. Um,
I
and
hope so. Last time I checked.
yes, an attractive woman who is fab over 40 and all of that. I need your perspective on this, because she and I have been friends for a long time. I want it to be more. I think she wants it to be more, but we're friends. So let's talk about that, Pam. What are your thoughts? Am I a wuss? Am I being smart to think about it this way, or am I just chickening out? What do you think?
Well, I think that in any relationship, whether it's a friendship or a dating relationship, it's probably always better to think about it than to not give any thought to it, especially when it's somebody that you're friends with. I mean, you guys have a history. Uh, I know from talking to you that you guys attempted to date, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out. You wound up living in other places. Um, and so you've recently moved back to Utah. And I know for me personally, when I encounter people from my past that I have had feelings for, even if they weren't deep, intense feelings, that it is almost like picking up where you left off, whether it's a friend or whether it's more than a friend. And so it sounds to me like you guys picked up where you left off, which was dating. Um, you're kind of a laid back, very well, maybe not on the show, but in real life, like you're a laid back, passive um guy. You're not a dominant, so to speak. And
No.
so you're not likely to jump in and make a move unless you're positive that that move is going to be well received. And with that knowledge, it makes a lot of sense that you are spending time with her, um, and just waiting for something magical to happen. But in this world, there's not always a lot of magic, and sometimes a man has to do the work. I mean, she's a beautiful woman. I've seen her in a video. She's beautiful. And whether that's considered punching up or whether that's considered, something that might be a little bit more intimidating, whatever the case is, you seem to be a little bit frozen. Um, and so I think where it comes to friends, it's just, yeah, you have a lot to lose if it doesn't work out, but you have a lot to gain if it does work out. And there's not that many people. We talk about this every single episode. There's not that many people out there that you want it to work out with. So when you find one, my advice, and I'll get into my own personal history, but my advice to you with what I know is get on the ride. I mean, worst case scenario, you have to get off the ride. It doesn't work out. And hopefully you're still friends afterwards. But you guys weren't really good friends to start out with. It's almost like you're dating without any of the physical parts of dating. So what do you have
Well,
to lose?
so we never. I don't even know if you and I have talked about this. I don't think we've talked about it here on the show. When she and I became really good friends was literally 5 years ago, right about now, and it
Right.
was right as. I mean, I've known her for 25 years, but it was about 5 years ago, right now, right as Trinity, my ex-wife, was leaving. That Laura and I almost said her real name. Laura and I became friends. And it truly was. We tried to date. We only went out like 2 or 3 times, but it just felt too weird. And it
Right.
wasn't that we didn't enjoy being together. It was partially that, I was still married. My divorce hadn't been signed by the judge yet. She knew my ex-wife. It was just a little bit too much at the same time.
Bad
So,
timing.
yeah, it was just bad timing. And so after 2 or 3 dates, we both just said this is weird right now. And we did remain friends. We would go out a couple of times a month, we'd go out and grab dinner, we'd go grab a drink, we went to a couple of movies together, and it really was just a really great friendship until I moved 3 years ago out of the state. And we've stayed in touch, not like talking every week, but every couple of months we would catch up.
Right.
So again, we've been friends for a long time. Now that it's back, now that it's been 5 years, the timing doesn't feel weird anymore. And that's why it's so easy to go, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, we're friends, but damn, she's hot and we get along and blah, blah, blah. So for me, it's like I look at the pros of dating a friend. I
Right.
mean, isn't that kind of what everybody always says? That isn't
Well,
that the dream to be with your best friend?
yeah, I think it is. I think that most people go about it from the opposite direction,
Right.
where you meet somebody and you're dating, and as that relationship gets more serious, this is the person you talk to about everything. This is the person that you confide in, that you ask their advice, and they become your friend over time. And eventually, yes, the person that you have dated and fallen for also becomes your best friend. We hear a lot of people talking about dating their friends, and I have experience in dating friends, not friends that I have known for years like you have, but again, most of the time that you guys have been friends, you weren't really overly invested in that relationship.
No.
Um, so I've had a couple friends where I have known them for a while, attractive, great people, seem to have, a lot in common, that have asked me to go out, and I have gone out and dated one for a while. And for me, the biggest stumbling block is you really like that person, but then the more you get to know them and see them on a romantic level, it just doesn't fit the way that you hoped it would. So I
Mhm.
think for most people, dating a friend becomes a pipe dream. But I am positive that there are millions of people out there who have dated a friend that it has become the person that they marry and spend the rest of their life with. I think you would hear stories on both sides of that. My last relationship was a long distance relationship, and we became really, really good friends before we even met, before we had even gone on a date or had a kiss or anything. We were talking for hours every single day, getting to know each other, building that friendship with a hint of, wow, this person could be something great. And so once we met, I think that for both of us, maybe it was just awkward. I think it's awkward when you're friends with somebody and it's not physical or sexual. Just getting from point A to point B is really, really awkward. And I know for me, I made the first move
Mhm.
because I knew he wasn't going to make it. And so that evolved into a more serious relationship and a intimate relationship. But at the end of the day, when that relationship didn't work out, I feel like now we're not nearly as good friends as we started out being,
Hmm.
sharing and talking and asking advice and just, all of that stuff. And we don't have that anymore. And so I, of course, question, if we had never dated, if we had just been friends and it hadn't turned into a long distance relationship, would we still be really good friends today?
Hmm.
And so there's some regret there because the relationship didn't work out. Neither one of us cried when the relationship didn't work out. It just didn't work out. And yet there was definitely a really strong bond there. And it sounds like you and Laura, during the time since you've moved back to Utah, have developed a really strong bond where
Mhm.
if she wasn't in your life and you weren't talking to her on a regular basis, you would really miss that. And so I think you need to just have those conversations. And that's what we tell everybody else anyway. Have those conversations where if this doesn't work out, no matter how great it feels, because I thought my last relationship was really great, I was fine with it just being, I mean, we were really good friends and we were intimate. And I was fine with it just being that. At this point in my life, if I became really good friends with somebody and we wound up in a relationship, I don't need that butterfly adrenaline excitement. And so I think that for me, if I was really good friends with somebody and wanted to turn it into more, I would probably jump at that opportunity, even if it wasn't sizzling or hot, because you don't know at this point in your relationship what that part is going to be like. And if it's not as great as you think, you need to be prepared for wherever you're going to end up.
So you're saying to me, if I just heard you correctly, What
Mhm.
did your glass say today? You always have a new glass
It
every
says,
week.
"Beer is my friend. I'm going to a party after we record
Oh,
today." So
okay. Um, last week was vodka something, or I can't remember, but
last week it was because politics,
oh, right,
but
that's right.
there was no vodka in that glass.
Oh, that's right.
I'm
That's right.
running out of glasses anyway, but
Okay. So if I heard you right, you're saying that you would, if you find somebody and they're your friend and you enjoy being with them and you're attracted to them, even if there's not the butterflies, you think that it's worth the risk that you might fuck up your friendship. It's worth going for it on that romantic side.
that's not what I said.
Okay.
Or if I said that's not what I meant. I said I would welcome a relationship with somebody that I'm friends with, even if it wasn't like high school or my 20s where I had butterflies and adrenaline and got so excited every time I saw that person. Like I was okay not having those feelings in that relationship, and I would be okay having a partner that I was crazy about, that I really enjoyed their time, and all of the things that come with a best friend. I would want it to be intimate. I'm not saying I would sacrifice intimacy. I would want it to be intimate, but I don't need it to be like when I was a kid.
Okay, okay, okay. Maybe I conflated things to mean something different. But I guess what I'm asking though, you've given me the advice during this show to go for it. Basically, would you say get on the
Yeah.
ride? And
I
so
said, "Yeah."
you're saying that it's worth the risk.
I'm saying
For,
it's worth the risk as long as you're okay with the possibility that if it doesn't work out, you guys will not be friends anymore. Because the difference is that a lot of times, what like when that relationship ended for me, I had a couple days where I was stunned because I thought we were kind of in the same place. I thought that we both felt the same thing, which was we really cared about each other. I didn't care about the adrenaline. I didn't know if he cared about it. So, I felt like it was really easy for us to kind of have this conversation where, okay, it's not working out. I needed a couple of days to process it. I never shed a tear. I didn't need to recover from it. But this is a woman that you live in the same area with. It's a
Mhm.
lot different having a long distance relationship end because I'm not going to run into him. I don't need him to keep me company. He wasn't really keeping me company when we were in a relationship. She is keeping you company and you really enjoy the time that you're spending with her. If if it doesn't work out, if she just breaks your heart, are you still going to want to have that friendship with her? You can't possibly know that now.
Right.
And vice versa. For her, most relationships end badly because otherwise they wouldn't end at all. So I'm saying you should go for it under the guise that if it doesn't work out, you're going to be just fine without her in your life.
Yeah. I mean, because I posed the same question on our TikTok channel, by the way,
I
and
saw.
somebody wrote back, made the comment, it's like gambling. Don't bet that what you can't lose or can't afford to lose. And
That's a great. I'm not I just it's not it's I'm never going to be the kind of person who tells somebody um don't go for it. It's like I'm never if I'm you or if I'm her and we're spending all that time together and there's chemistry and I am like I can see spending the rest of my life with this person, I will probably have a really hard time not chasing that.
right.
But at the same time, I have to face the people that I have dated in my social group. I face them every time I go to an event. And yes, we are friends again now, but we're not the kind of friends that we were. And my ex, my most recent relationship, we're not the kind of friends that we were. So I would say that I have learned that unless you're going to be with her for the rest of your life, you are not going to be the people that you are right now before anything has happened if it doesn't work out. And so I guess it's like anything else. It's gambling, like she said, and I saw a lot of people told you to go for it, and a lot of people said, don't do it.
Mhm.
We've all lost good friends, people that we cared about, people we confided in, people we were happy being friends with. We've all lost them because we tried to date them.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who it's worked out for. Does that mean it won't work out for you? Absolutely not. I'm sure it works out for a lot of people. I don't know those people.
Yeah. So with that, just Brian, if you're listening, which you always are, do you have something do you want to add anything to this, or is that past your bedtime or
No,
whatever?
no, past my bedtime.
Brian, are you there, Brian?
No, I would just say, I kind of went through this myself. Granted, it was a long time ago, back in college. But my wife and we were just friends, and I mean, she friend zoned the shit out of me, and I'm not kidding. I asked her out probably 8 times, and each time it was always oh, but I really like our friendship. And I'm not lying. It took to, I was like, all right, I guess we're just friends. And I started thinking like, okay, what would life be like if I were just friends with her and maybe look at someone else? And literally the moment I start to have that thought, and my at that time friend, Caitlin, my wife now, she was like, nope, you're mine. And then
She
literally
likes
that was
a
it, right?
challenge.
Oh yeah, apparently. It just took me having to watch When Harry Met Sally like 30 times, I guess, to show her that I was in fact committed.
But
And then
that's
meeting my parents at Applebee's, but that's a different conversation for a different day. But long story short, yeah, we went from friend zone to dating. And then we had a long time dating. We spent, my goodness, what, 6 years, 5 years dating together. And then
Wow.
obviously that turned into marriage. But I think it is important to build relationships based on friendship, because at the end of the day, for me, I don't just look at my wife as my wife. She is my best friend. So
Yeah.
to be able to have somebody I can go home to at the end of the day, despite all the stresses of life and the stresses of being parents with a toddler, like all these things, I know I can go back at the end of the day and have my wife as my friend, as well as my partner and wife. Like that really means a lot, because I know a lot of men don't really have that in their partners, and they have to go to their friend circles, which is, don't get me wrong, that's great to have guy friends or girlfriends, but like there is something inherently valuable of your partner, your spouse also being your friend. So that's
Absolutely.
my story.
Well, I would hope that anybody that you're dating over a long period of time, whether you marry them or not, and Brian's a lot younger than us, you know, in our 50s, I would like to believe that anybody you're dating for a long time is going to become your good or your best friend. I mean, that's the goal. The hard part is getting from a friendship to something more than a friendship. Now, something that I thought about while you were talking is also the fact that you look like a completely different person now than you
Yeah.
did the last time that you dated.
Oh,
So,
you're talking to me now. Okay.
yeah, no, I'm talking to you. I'm saying, you've lost how much weight since the last time she dated you?
94 pounds.
That'll
So,
do it.
physical attraction is a huge thing. And so I'm not saying that she wasn't physically attracted to you when you guys dated last time, but in my experience, it's easier to be physically attracted to somebody who takes really good care of themselves and is in good shape. And so I'm sure that's working to your advantage this time around.
Well,
And
and I'll pop in really quick, Pam, because
yeah,
it's funny. That's kind of my story too, because my wife and I met when I was year 2, into a 2-year weight loss journey myself, and I used to weigh 385 pounds. I was a very, very, very big boy, and I had lost a total at that point when my wife and I became friends. I had lost around 100 pounds, but I was still in the upper 200s. And over that year of us being friends, I continued to lose another around like 75 pounds. So I'm going to just, almost guarantee that played a role into our going from friends to more than friends.
it's not a coincidence. I
No.
mean,
So
it's just
what we're
not.
saying here is to get out of the friend zone, you just got to lose a shit ton of weight.
Well, you have to. I
Isn't that a
think
Ryan Reynolds movie, by the way? Just
I
Friends?
will. Yes, I don't know what that movie was, but I will say I just think that attractive women are more likely to date somebody that they find attractive and in good shape.
Sure.
I think that we've discussed that on so many occasions when it comes to dating apps and things like that. I think the bottom line really is, you know, you guys have been hanging out now for what, like 5 or 6 weeks?
No, 4 weeks.
And spending a few days a week
Yeah.
together? And
Yeah.
is there texting every day or
At least,
talking?
yeah, all the time.
Okay, so this is, to me, that's a really long time to remain in the friend zone. I mean, I think that you guys, if you don't make this into a more physical relationship, do you pay for this? Is just a curious thing. Do you pay for yourself or do you pay for her also? Are they dates or are they just two friends going Dutch?
Well, like the first, by the way, I was just looking at the calendar. I've been here for 3 weeks now.
Oh, God,
Tomorrow will be 3 weeks.
feels
So
like you've been
that's,
there.
yeah. So
Okay.
it's only been 3 weeks. The first week or so, I paid the first time. I mean, she paid for those tickets. So I bought dinner that night. And then, and so it was kind of a informal Dutch kind of a thing. But
And
then, and it's been that way ever since. So she paid one time, I paid the next time. So yeah, it hasn't been like a traditional, I've asked her out. Now
right.
tonight we're going to see a movie and I'm taking her to dinner and we're going to the movie. And then tomorrow she's paying for dinner and I've already got the tickets to the movie. We're going to see Gladiator 2.
You're
And
seeing,
then
I thought you were going to 2 movies.
we are, well, tonight and tomorrow.
What are you seeing tonight?
Heretic.
Oh, I heard a
Yeah.
lot about that.
Yeah. It's all about Mormonism. And you
I
guys
know
know
it
that I'm
is. I'm
fascinated
interested to
by
see
it.
how that is. All right, but not to get off course. So you guys are going out 2 nights in a row. So are you kissing her goodnight?
I have not kissed her goodnight.
So you haven't kissed her yet,
No,
but you guys are spending this whole weekend together.
pretty much.
I just think if you're, I understand after 3 weeks of hanging out with somebody who is a good friend that it's got to take like hella guts to lean in for that first kiss. I mean, it's got to feel a lot like high school. You must have a lot of that adrenaline, butterflies, because it feels like the ball is firmly in your court. But at the same time, you guys are good friends. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's easier to know than to risk being rejected. So I think before this weekend, even before tonight, I would probably send her a text and say, I'd like to look at tonight as our first date. How do you feel about that?
That's a great idea.
I
That's
just
a
feel like if
great
you're going to
idea.
start the dating cycle, but maybe make sure you don't put too much pressure on her. I'd like to look at tonight as our first date. I totally understand if you're not ready for that yet, and I'm really excited about dinner and the movie regardless. Make sure that when you're asking the question, you give her an exit, because the last thing you want is to have her spend the whole night really uncomfortable because she said yes or no. So
Yeah.
since she can't listen to our show before the date, which would make this a lot easier, yeah, I just feel like it's
Yeah.
always best to ask, and that way you don't lean in for a kiss and she turns her head and says, "You know what? I'm not there yet."
Well, I'll tell you what, I think we've talked about it enough. I will tell you right now, I'll kind of make an announcement that my mind is made up, obviously. I mean, I'm
He's
ready to
going
go.
for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go for it because I'm gonna be like Brian's wife at this point and say, I can't imagine her I can't imagine being friends with her and her going out with other guys. That just feels like something would be taken away from me. So I have to at least give it a try. There's no way
Yeah.
I can't at this point.
Well, and what do you have to lose? I mean, it I
Yeah.
mean, I guess we've just spent 25 minutes talking about what you have to lose, but you guys both live there. Hopefully, no matter what happens, you would still wind up friends,
Yeah.
even if it doesn't
We
work
can
out.
hope so. Well, I'll tell you what, before we get to our next segment, I just want to say thank you to all of our listeners, and our TikTok people. I love how interactive people have been. This last week, it feels like it was more interactive, at least for me, than it has been in a while because I haven't been as active on TikTok, and I apologize.
I was
Thank
just
you
going to say
for
you have to
holding down the
make
fort.
TikToks to
Yeah.
get to be
So,
interactive.
but thank you all, everybody out there, for your amazing ratings, your reviews, your comments this week has been great. They really do. That's the thing that helps get the word out about our show more than anything. Obviously, we want you to share this with your friends and your family, but the fact that if you rate and review the show, that actually helps more than anything. So if you can, please just take a minute, if you haven't done it already, and rate and review the show on whatever platform you're using. So with that, let's get on to that next episode.
You've got mail.
We have all right. Well, I've read this email, and this is a humongous coincidence that I had it slated for today. So it feels like a little bit of a continuation, but here we go. Dear Pam and Tom, have you ever encountered a profile on a dating app where the person insists on being quote unquote friends first? Like, how is this life? It seems a lot of women insist on that on their dating profiles, and it has never worked out for me. The problem I have with it, the problem I have with it is that it isn't the natural process. When we dated in our youth, a guy didn't approach a girl that they were attracted to for the purpose of being friends. It was to hopefully be more than friends. Also, liking someone is very different than loving someone, and loving a friend is very different than loving a romantic partner.
Hmm.
This is also why it is rare to be friends with someone you loved. Not unheard of, but I wonder if they truly loved each other if they are now friends, which is a great point because
Yeah.
I am friends with people that I thought I was in love with, and when I read that and I think about it, I'm like, was that love? Finally, I don't want to go out on a lot of dates with someone because I always pay, hoping to become more than friends. It makes
Mm.
me wonder if they only want me for the free dinners and the outings. I wonder if Tom has ever run into this situation. I doubt if guys ever have that in their profile, but many women do. I'd love to hear the male female perspectives on this. Thank you. Friends first. Question.
Wow.
Yeah, I love this
There's a lot to
email.
unpack there. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have I really don't have any experience with that. I have never seen a man on a dating app say that he wanted to be friends first.
Okay, so that was my first question to you because obviously I've never seen a man's profile, so I can never answer that. So this really is, if it is a problem, this is on women from what
Oh, for
we're seeing.
sure. I mean, we can get into it and I can definitely see it from our perspective.
Okay, so let me answer his first question.
Sure.
He said he said I wonder if Tom's ever run into this situation. Here's the irony. The answer, if this episode would have been recorded 4 weeks ago, I would have said no, I've never seen that. But I have seen it since I've been here in Utah.
Weird. So
Now,
weird.
it's possible. It's very possible that I just missed it, that I've never seen it. Maybe it was in Georgia, maybe it was in Florida, and maybe it was here in Utah before. But I, at least to my 56-year-old brain and my recollection, I don't recall ever seeing it on any profile until sometime over the last 3 to 4 weeks since I've been on dating apps here in Utah. So I thought over these last couple of weeks that it was just a Utah thing.
Right.
Now, how do you sign it? Friends first.
Yeah.
Unless Friends First is here in Utah, which
He's
I
not
doubt.
in Utah.
Oh, okay.
He
Um,
had a return address, like a mailing address on the email.
oh, well, let's send him a nice little card or something.
I mean, I've replied. I've talked to him about the email.
Okay, but so I thought it was a Utah thing. Clearly, it's not. It's a woman thing, and it's not all women, obviously. But I agree with Friends First. It feels awkward because the theory, at least the way I've always looked at dating apps, is that you're supposed to kind of like look at this woman or man, but we're saying women right now. If you're supposed to look at this woman and you're supposed to say, "Oh, that's someone I find attractive. Let me read about her, read the bio, whatever. Where does she live? That kind of stuff."
Right.
And you decide if you're going to swipe on her. And you're swiping to create a romantic relationship. And I know it's a really shitty comparison, but if you think about going to the bar and you see a woman over there that you think is attractive, you're not going to buy her a drink in hopes of being her friend.
Right. It's a good
That's,
point.
that's just not how it works.
And we
And
know when we get a drink that that's not what the person that sent it is looking for.
exactly. And when someone swipes on you, Pam, on a dating app, you're not going, "Oh, this is someone I could see as a friend." You're looking dating apps. They're called dating apps for a reason.
Right. You're absolutely right.
So I just think to me, let me tell you a quick story. Years and years ago, I'm like 21 years old, very recently returned Mormon missionary. I went out with this girl. I met her at work. Her name's Trisha. That's her real name, but that's okay. It's been 30 something years. I think we can say her real name now. And we went out 2 or 3 times and I was like, this girl's awesome. And she was fun. She was pretty. She was nice. She was all the, everything you want when you're 21 years old. And on our 3rd or 4th date, I'm dropping her off at her house and I'm thinking everything's going great. And she goes, "Tom, you're a great guy. And I really enjoy being with you, but I've been dating this other guy. Started dating him just a week or 2 before you and I met. And it's starting to get a little serious. So can we just be friends?" Now, as a 21-year-old brash
Boy.
boy, I said, well, Trisha, you know what? I've got plenty of friends. If you need another one, I suggest you get a dog.
Aw, and she was just being nice, though. I feel like that was so respectful.
I know, but you know what? It's funny
You
because
were hurt.
since we did work together, she knows my personality.
Right.
And she laughed and we actually did remain friends for until she left the company. I mean, it's not like we were hanging out outside of work, but we'd see each other at work and talk and stuff like that. Then she left the company and I haven't seen her in 35 years. So, or 34 years. So, I hope she's doing well, but that's kind of the way I look at this stuff. It's like, look, I'm not on a dating app to have a friend. And but by the
Right.
way, our last segment is kind of weird. I didn't have a friend to find someone to date either, but here I am. Um, anyway, so that's my thought. I think it's almost unfair for women to put that on their profile or have
Well,
that expectation.
as a woman, I think that we are in. So, I emailed back with this gentleman a couple times, and he's in his late 50s. Um, and so we were emailing, and once I had his age and I thought about the fact that, okay, we're at a point right now in time, in the world, in life, where dating is, for whatever reason, becoming almost frowned upon. People are just burnt out, over it, tired of being hurt, tired of being used. Women are looking for free dates, free meals. Men are looking for somebody to wipe their butt when they get older, whatever the case may be. It's not good. And so my first thought was, I don't have this on a dating app, but I understand why women are trying to portray that they are no longer willing to just jump in. They don't want to go on a date, myself included. And I've talked about some of these dates where the man that you're on the date with automatically assumes that he's going to be making out with you at your car because he bought you a beer
Mhm.
or because you both happen to show up or whatever the case may be. I
Right.
think that we are dealing as women with men who are sometimes so aggressive and so unkind if they don't get the response they want. And I did just talk about a date a week or two ago with a guy who I wound up leaving the restaurant because he was so aggressive and so rude that I just left. Maybe women are putting that on a profile as some sort of protection against this type of behavior. Um, Maybe it's not really what they want, but we're trying to find a way to go about dating differently where there's no expectation on us until we at least get to know somebody, a few dates. A long time ago, I made some videos on that 3-date rule where that guy, if I didn't sleep with him on the third date, he was angry and bitter and we weren't dating anymore. And I thought we were on our way to having a pretty decent relationship. I thought he was a good guy. I just wasn't ready to go to bed with him. And so it ended and it ended badly. If I had had friends first on my dating profile, he probably wouldn't have swiped right on me. And that probably would have been better for both of us.
Well, and yeah, yeah. But what's interesting to me, and maybe it's just a definitional thing, and I don't even know if that's a word. But I see a lot on dating profiles where it says looking for LTR, um, no hookups, please.
I have that. I have not looking for pen pals or hookups on my dating app.
So, and maybe, and as I was formulating that thought, and I think, okay, maybe it's a definition thing. Maybe like your guy, well, it's a third date, so that's not a hookup. A hookup is on the first date. Maybe that's what he's thinking. And so you may be right. Maybe it's like, look, I need to defend myself against the 3-date bullshit.
Right.
I've already said no hookups, which maybe the guy thinks that means just nothing on the first date. But by
Right.
the third date, damn it, we got to be in there. Um, Interesting. It's so interesting to me hearing this from a woman's perspective because, guys don't put no hookups.
Well, because
Um,
you guys are hopeful. that you'll have a hookup. I mean, at the very least, if you take a girl and not necessarily you, Tom, but like most men, if they take you to dinner and for drinks or whatever, they would love to end up in bed. I mean, that's just the times that we live in. People are hesitating to date. They're hesitating to get into relationships. But I have multiple girlfriends who are just looking for friends with benefit situations. It's cuffing season. It's going to get cold out. They don't want to date. They don't want to put their makeup on when it's 30 degrees outside. So they're looking for somebody to just snuggle with for a few months. I mean, everybody's looking for something different. I just feel like putting that on your profile, a lot of guys are going to swipe left just because they don't have the time for that. But maybe a good guy who really looks at your profile and looks at your pictures and says, wow, this is somebody that I would like to get to know. Maybe he wants to be friends first. I think I'm not going to lie. I think it's kind of silly. I'm not going to like run after this episode and change my dating profile. I'm paused right now anyway. But I'm not going to change it and put friends first on there because I don't want to scare away good guys because they think I'm looking for a free meal. But at the same time, I am very honest on a first date that I am not the kind of person who is going to have somebody back to my house after a first date.
I know you're going to say this in just a minute. Like, thanks for your emails and everything. But one of the things I'm going to ask, this is fascinating to me, that it never even dawned on me that this might be a defense mechanism. And it makes sense to me what you just said, but I'm really, really fascinated that's a possibility. What I'm hoping is that people will write to us and say, no, it's not defense. It's because of this, or, maybe ladies, if you're out there and you have it written in your dating profile, why? I'd love to hear that.
Right. No, I actually would love to hear that also. I can understand the mentality, but of course I'm guessing because I'm not looking for a friend,
Yeah.
on my dating apps. I'm not like, oh, this guy's hot. He looks like we could be good friends. I mean, that's not what and if somebody sends me a drink at a bar and I accept it, you already know that like I'll give somebody a nice long look and thank them and make it clear that it's okay to come over. But if I don't want them to come over, we're not going to be friends anyway.
Right.
Like it's just
this is fascinating. Yeah. Okay. So here's the bottom line, everybody. I really would love to hear from you on this because I don't understand. As a guy, I'm not going to put anything on my profile like that. So as women,
of course not.
Why? I mean, well, no, I mean, but of course not for women either. I mean, if you're on a dating app, you're not looking for friends.
Right. But I just gave you a possible reason that it's on there and it just really doesn't apply to men.
Oh, okay. Yes. No, I understand. But I'm asking, that's why I'm asking women to either validate your theory or give us some more theories, because I would love to do a follow-up on this one from all of these emails and comments that we should get on this, because I hope everyone's as fascinated as I am by this.
And we get a lot of comments. You guys can comment on YouTube, you can comment on Spotify, or you can send us emails. Send us any email, ask us a question, ask us for advice. We will do our best. We don't always agree, but we do give you the male-female perspective. The address is talkingphase@gmail.com. I will read, promise, every single email that you send. And if we choose your email, I will let you know when that will air. So you can listen to what we had to say and you can tell all your friends that you wouldn't know what to do without us. So please send them over. Again, it's talkingphase@gmail.com.
And we'll make you famous with a fake name.
Yeah. Well, you give us your fake name. We'll try to honor you with it.
There you go. Thanks everybody for listening. Hopefully this episode has been enlightening for you guys. It has been for me. So thank you, Pam, for your sound advice.
My pleasure. Here all week.
Yeah, here all week. I've already asked, but I'm going to ask one more time. Please rate and review the podcast on whatever platform you're listening right now. Please share the podcast with your friends and your family. Make sure you follow us on all the social medias. That would be Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're on YouTube. Of course, some of you are hearing or watching this on YouTube anyway, but I think that's about it. So until next Friday, this is Pam and Tom signing off.
Have a great day, everybody. A great week, going into Christmas season. Stay warm. Get your sweatshirts out. I have mine on today. It says Taylor Swift on it.